Empire. What if the ball could help you shoot better?
And so you're doing shooting drills on how you release. We're giving you quantified data, and then you're able to adjust and say, hey, when I shoot at this speed, I'm making it more and more and more and more.
That's Erik Anderson, CEO of SIQ Basketball, where the smart ball is real. This is the Future Sport Podcast. I'm Bram Weinstein. The SIQ product was developed in Europe, but now has made its way into the United States. And as Erik Anderson explains, it was nearly impossible for him not to see this as a golden opportunity to help those who are trying to be the next Steph Curry. Our guest this week is Erik Anderson. He is the CEO of SIQ Basketball, which is a smart basketball app that is going to track over 192 data points per shot and provide real-time stats and expertise to players of every level. Erik, it's a pleasure having you. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Give me your background here. How did you get into this?
Right. So I came across SIQ as a venture capital investor. I'm originally from Los Angeles, but I was covering Scandinavia for a fund in Eastern Europe. And I met Hari, the founder, who played professionally for 17 years. He started duct taping hardware to the outside of a basketball, collecting data, and uses FIBA connections to actually create a FIBA-approved game basketball. And so I was looking at deals and scouting companies in Finland at the time, and came across SIQ, at which point I said, hey, we have to make this deal. Fast forward about a year. It was actually the last meeting I took before COVID hit. Travel restrictions, gyms being closed. We needed to raise the next round of financing. They actually asked me to step away from the board position and join the company as the CEO.
All right, so wait a minute. They were seriously putting hardware on the outside of a basketball? That's how that started?
Yeah, no. So Hari was called a unicorn because he was a great basketball player, but he was also an incredible computer scientist. And so he took his passion for both subjects and was able to create SIQ as we have it today.
That's really cool. I don't know how the ball bounced that way, but all right. And I'll just have to take his word for it that worked out that way. What was his goal? What did he want to learn about the game of basketball by doing all of this?
I think at a fundamental level, he wanted to create a tool to help basketball players get better. And using a lot of basketball products today, there can be a lot of gimmicks in the marketplace. And so he really wanted to create a basketball that could be used in a game. So we're an official game basketball. But he also wanted to provide data to basketball players. If you look at a lot of other sports, baseball, hockey, soccer, there's a lot of tools that you can use to quantify your performance. Basketball at the youth and amateur level really doesn't have a solution that is accessible to many people. And so I think with SIQ, we're trying to provide advanced analytics to the masses, but we're also envisioning a world where why can't every basketball be a smart basketball?
I see. Okay. So how is that track going with trying to introduce the smart basketball in all the different markets?
Great question, Bram. We are seeing a lot of demand for the product. We are constantly low on inventory. I think a lot of companies, especially in the hardware space and the consumer technology space, have been hit with COVID and some supply chain issues. Fortunately, we were able to plan pretty well in advance for the next 2 or 3 years, but we've consistently hit low supply levels, and we sold out completely after the holiday sale. So, right now we have a product that is just entering the market, but we're seeing a lot of demand for it, and we have a whole new app upgrade or a whole new app redesign coming out that should increase engagement and hopefully help us in our marketing efforts of spreading SIQ.
All right, so take me through the tech a little bit. Like in other sports like hockey or tennis, golf, baseball, much of the tracking can be done because either the stick or the racket or the bat or the ball is being controlled by one person at a time. How do you track multiple people in a basketball game when all of them are likely touching it at various points in the game?
Right. So SIQ is actually tracking 192 data points on each shot. So when you download the app, you get the basketball, you download the app, and you onboard into the SIQ platform. Once you shoot 500 shots, we're able to create a shooter identification. So once we create that shooter ID for you, we can say, hey, Bram, let's go shoot at a court. You take your shots, it tracks it. I take my shot, it tracks it. We can have multiple basketballs. We can even have multiple players alongside of us playing. At the end of the session, you'll be able to get a full breakdown of what shots you shot. Right now, our algorithm is about 98.5% accurate. So for the most part, we'll be able to identify who shot what shot.
Guys, if you're looking for that extra confidence when it's time to have a little bit of fun, let me tell you about BlueChew.com. Blue Chew is a unique online service. It delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but it comes in chewable form and it's at a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew's tablets will help you combat all forms of ED. Plus, it's an online prescription service. No visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, no waiting in line at the pharmacy, and it ships right to your door in a discreet package. The process is really simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you are approved, you'll receive your prescription within days, and the best part, all done online. Blue Chew's licensed medical providers are going to work with you to find the right ingredient and the strength for your personal subscription. Plus, their tablets are made in the United States. They prepare, they ship direct, and it's so much cheaper than going through a pharmacy. And here's a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code FUTURE, F-U-T-R, at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code FUTURE, F-U-T-R, to receive your first month free. And we thank Blue Chew for being a sponsor of this show. In turn, once you have my profile, how does taking that data then correlate and educate me how to become a better, let's just start with shooter on the basketball court?
Right. So we've actually talked to quite a few shooting coaches on how they're using this product in their training for their players. And there's two main things shooting coaches look at, for example, in the high school level. How fast can you release your shot? And how can we improve the angle at which the shot goes into the bucket? So, if you're doing shooting drills, we can actually quantify pretty much for the first time ever in real time how fast you're releasing the basketball from your hand. And so you're doing shooting drills on how you release. We're giving you quantified data, and then you're able to adjust and say, hey, when I shoot at this speed, I'm making it more and more and more and more. And so we're able to work with trainers in real time on how to improve your release speed and then on your release angle. So by combining all these data points in your training, we're actually able to help players improve significantly. And in many of the case studies, we're seeing people go from, average shooters to excellent shooters statistically throughout the course of a season. And we've seen case studies where, people who were not expected to get Division I offers out of high school are now top 3-point shooters in their graduating class.
So the algorithm could help you essentially diagram biometrics. Is that what you're suggesting could come out of this to help someone with form, not just in terms of accuracy, but actual form? It can help them kind of figure out maybe where the flaw in the shot is.
Yeah, we're not really looking at how someone shoots. We care about people making shots. So everyone's a little bit different. I think if you talk to coaches 10 or 20 years ago, they'd say there's one right way to shoot. If you look at players today, it's more about being comfortable in how that individual shoots. And so we're just trying to provide data and analytics to that person's shot. They're more comfortable with the specific release speed. And that's what we just want to show them and help them be comfortable with.
What else can players work on besides just their shooting technique? What other kind of data points come out of the product that you're building?
So SIQ is really a shooter's product.
Yep.
So we really emphasize, getting buckets and developing that one specific skill. We don't cover dribbling, but what we do is add a layer of gamification. So we're actually able not for the first time, but we're able to actually show you how your teammates are practicing. We're able to show you how people around the world are practicing.
Mm-hmm.
And we're able to gamify and create that competition in our platform to know, like, hey, I'm putting in the work. And that gives players a lot of confidence.
What do you mean? Can you be specific? Like, how does that present itself within the app?
So we launched in February a competition. It was the first competition on our platform. It was more of an internal test just to see if putting something gamified or putting a competition into the wild would increase usage on our platform. And in the first few emails of saying Free Throw February is live, come shoot free throws with us, our usage for the month jumped over 30%.
Yeah.
We didn't have any basketballs to actually sell, so we know the baseline of active users stayed the same, but the usage of the users on the competition went up. So by opening up Free Throw February, we were able to see people shoot 3, 4, 5 times more than they would have in a normal month.
All right. So who are you marketing to? Are you trying to get into the leagues? Are you more looking at rec leagues, youth leagues, those levels to try to work with them to create a partnership to buy the basketballs and then share the data?
Yeah. So we essentially have 3 main targets. We have players, coaches, and parents. And for different reasons, each one loves SIQ differently. So right now we want to really focus on building a grassroots basketball brand with, a larger vision of being a mainstream consumer product. So we're working with a lot of shooting coaches right now to work with their athletes. And this is how they're using, give them the resources to use SIQ in a training environment. We're also working with a few leagues. I'm sure you're familiar with the Overtime Elite League.
Yeah.
We're the official ball provider for them. And they wanted just the basketball at first because we sent them some balls. They loved it. They're like, hey, let's start with just using the basketball. And then now we're in the process of rolling out the technology with their players. So we needed to position ourselves as, hey, we're an innovative product. We're an official game basketball. And oh, by the way, we also provide all of these advanced analytics. And that seems to be the right path forward. We're getting a lot of inbound about, hey, can I get this for my team? Hey, can I get this for my shooting facility? And we're getting a lot of parents saying, hey, can I get like a few more of these balls for some of the other players on the team? Because this has helped my kids so much. We're seeing such great results. We're really early days in figuring out the marketing machine.
Yeah.
But working with shooting coaches and getting their athletes involved with the basketball early, we really see an opportunity for the 12, 13, 14-year-olds just picking up basketball for the first time, maybe tracking every single shot they ever take in their basketball career.
That's wild. It almost feels like you need to make the old school infomercial, except I wouldn't know where it would air.
Yeah, YouTube advertising.
Yeah. So when you talk about grassroots, it's funny. I'm just picturing the infomercial, but that's just not modern. How do you envision that? What does grassroots marketing for a modern player look like?
We did a massive customer discovery where we talked to coaches, we talked to skills coaches, we talked to players, we talked to parents. And we really realized that it comes down to coaches' authority. And so we want to keep coaches really happy with the product. We want to keep coaches recommending this to their players. And so we're working right now over the next 6 months to become the number one shooting tool for shooting coaches. Typically, they would use a basketball, a notepad, or an iPad to track stats or track workouts. We can do that for them without having to use the old school hardware. But now one shooting coach could turn into 30, 40, 50 active players on our platform. So by just going in grassroots, putting 3 basketballs in the hands of a shooting coach, we're getting in front of 50 people. So we're doing a lot of things that don't scale right now, but those things will compound and people will be educated on how to use the product. And we're already seeing in our customer service tickets a lot less like, hey, this isn't working, and a lot more about like, hey, I saw this. How can I get my hands on?
That's cool. Erik Anderson is the CEO of SIQ Basketball. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
On the next Future Sport podcast, we'll stay in hoops with former star guard Jason the Jet Terry, who's at the forefront of some modern training technology.
You didn't have to have a membership to show up to a 24-hour fitness or a Gold's Gym. You would have this Flexit technology. You can log on and check in at any gym in America, which is good because sometimes you can't find that particular gym you're signed up for.
Terry will take us through a near 2-decade career, his current role in coaching developmental players, and of course Flexit, the company that is personalizing personal training. That will do it for this episode. As always, the future is now. This is the Future Sport Podcast. I'm Bram Weinstein.